Productivity is really important in real life as well as in coding. And how do we do that? VS Code extensions might be the answer. Yes, they are. In this video, we are going to see what are VS Code extensions, how do we use them, and some of my personal favorite ones, which can be really useful for you also. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the video. So the first question that comes is, what are VS Code extensions? So VS Code extensions are sort of add-ons in VS Code that help you boost your productivity in VS Code. Now it's really easy to install and use them. For that, what you need to do is just click this extensions icon on the left, and here you will see a list of extensions, or in my case you are able to see in yours it might be empty. Now if I just minimize this, you will see two bars, installed and recommended. So the installed extensions are which you have installed by the name suggests, and the recommended are the extensions that are recommended. I will tell you further in the video how these are recommended to you. So first, let's see some of the extensions that I am using. So the first you will see is Bracket Pair Colorizer 2. So this is a really famous second version of the Bracket Pair Colorizer in VS Code. Now what this does is adds rainbow or different color brackets in your code, and this works with many different languages. So for example, I have a Python file open, so if I just close this hello world also in another pair of brackets, you can see that the brackets have turned purple. The inside brackets are purple and the outer ones are yellow. So for example, if I just erase this part and I just put a pair of brackets, you can see these are really colorful and easily identifiable. So these are really useful if you make a ton of indexes by using different brackets. So this really helps you to identify which one is bracket is of which pair. So for example, if I have this, I want to take this purple one. So if I just highlight it, I can see which is its pair, and its pair is also given here. Now you can see this one purple and this one purple are highlighted and boxed. So this means these are the pair, and you can also identify it very easily by the color. So this is how Bracket Pair Colorizer is to be used. Now next we have a HTML boilerplate extension. Now this is a really useful extension if you work with HTML. Now if you are a HTML developer, you might know what a boilerplate is, but if you don't know, then let me tell you. A boilerplate is like an empty skeleton or a template for any HTML file or page. Now this can be easily installed by clicking just the install button here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a HTML file, index.html, and now as you're able to see, I'm in the HTML file. So now for getting this boilerplate, what I have to do is type here boil. You will see that the boilerplate suggestion is already there below this. Now you just click this, or you can just tab it. As you are able to see, it has made a complete HTML boilerplate for me in just a moment. Now this is really useful because otherwise you would need to type all of this. You also have some explanatory comments that are really useful if you are very new to HTML. Now this is really useful if you also don't want to write the basic tags like head and body. Now this also creates a nice overview and it is really well sorted, so you can just start on from here. Now the next extension we are going to talk about is IntelliSense for CSS class names. So if you work with CSS, you know that class names can be really tough to remember, and there are a lot of class names in CSS. Now it is really easy. You just enable this extension, and as you can also see in this example, it will automatically give you suggestions for different class names in CSS. Now this can be really useful if you know CSS class names but you cannot remember all, or you cannot remember any one of them also. You can just tab out or just enter a small letter and it will show you all the suggestions with that letter. Now next we have the Jupyter extension. Now this is by Microsoft company and it is for integration with Jupyter notebooks. So if you don't know, Jupyter notebook is also a type of notebook which makes your coding more efficient and it works really well. Now if you know Anaconda, so then you would be familiar with Jupyter, but if you don't know, consider it also like an coding environment. So now you will see the install button, you can easily install it and you can easily integrate Jupyter notebooks with VS Code. Currently I have it but I am not using it, so I installed it quite a while ago. Now next we have path intelligence. So this is a really useful VS Code extension. Now how can you use this? First you can just see the description that auto completes file name. So this clearly shows what it does. But still for a demo I'm going to show you. So for example, I'm in this HTML file, and in the link tag, I'm in the href, I'm going to type a file name. So let me just first create some demo files. So I'm just going to name it just a folder, and then I'm going to also create a subfolder in this index homepage. Now I'm going to create a dummy file in this known as, I will keep it as text.txt. It's a text file, basic text file. I'm not going to enter anything in this, or maybe let's just enter hello here. Yeah, now. Yes. Now we have entered, we have made a dummy file, and now I'm going to link to it. So what I would need to do mostly is like start from C and then go to there. But what I can just easily do is put a dot, which means that root folder. So in this, my root folder is test VS Code. This is my root folder in this project. So I'm just going to type a dot and then a slash. Now this will redirect me to different files and folders in the root folder. So for example, you can easily see this just a folder. So either you can click it or just click tab, and then you can see index homepage tab and then test.txt tab. Now this will straight link to their test.txt file in this tag. So this is really easy, and otherwise you would need to like type this whole thing, but it would take a lot of time, maybe 2 minutes, but still these are really important 2 minutes. And if you're working with large projects with large folder names with a lot of subfolders, then it will be very slow for you. What you can do is just use this extension and just tab through all over your subfolders and easily do your task. Now let's move on. Now we have the Gitlens extension, which is also provided by Microsoft. Now this is a feature-rich language server for Python and VS Code, and I also showed that this is really important to install when you first install Python. And this provides like features like autocomplete, intelligence. It is also integrated with one of the other extensions in VS Code, and you can just click install and it will automatically install. Now this is a preview version, which means all the other future updates will also come in this, but I guess there is a normal version also for normal consumers. Now we have the Python extension, which is the most basic extension if you are starting with Python. Now this is important to install because you can start with Python after installing this only. I also showed how to install this while installing Python in my video, so you can also check that out if you have any doubts. And this enables Python in VS Code and also helps you choose between different versions in VS Code. So if you can see in the bottom left, I have currently 3 versions installed on this system. 3.7.9, which I use for backward compatibility, or if in normal language we would say it as like older programs, then 3.9 and 3.9 with the 32-bit and 64-bit, because this is 64-bit, but some of the modules are only compatible with 32-bit systems, so that's why I also have 32-bit installed. And this was for the Python one. Now we let me just close this. Yes, now we have Visual Studio IntelliCode. Now this is a really good extension because it uses AI to detect your style of coding and also helps you autocomplete a lot of statements. Now this won't work in like normal coding because VS Code already has autocomplete, so it helps. But if you are coding long programs in TensorFlow or other modules, then it will be really helpful, and it will try to understand your type of coding and it will try to give suggestions on the basis of that. Now this is really good. Now last extension I have on my VS Code is Anaconda extension pack. Now while using Anaconda, I installed it, and it is a really good extension if you work with Anaconda environments. And if you don't know, Anaconda is also a type of Python environment that you can work. Now we also have like pip, so there is another version also, Anaconda, so you can also use that. But if you don't know about it, then there is no need to learn about it right now. So I used it while I was working with Anaconda, but right now I'm not, so I have disabled it. You can see the enable button. This means I have disabled it right now. I can enable it by clicking this. So these were my installed extensions. Now let's see what we have in the recommended. So as you can see, I have a lot of extensions in my recommended. Now why are these here? I'm going to tell you just a minute. So first I have C++ because I just installed some files and I was just checking the code. So that's why it's showing, because I worked with a C or C++ file recently. So it detects that and shows you the recommendation. We also have the Docker because I was working with some another service. I was just checking the code, so that's why it is showing. And these are some CSS other extensions also, like IntelliSense of CSS and extension packs. Then Heroku, because I was you can also link Heroku with VS Code for better analysis of your services or whatever applications you are running on Heroku. And we also have Azure, like the same. You can also use this for redirecting to the applications and other stuff. So this is used for that. I currently don't need that because I just open that file, so it just detects it. And if you see anything here, if you want to install it, you can install it. Otherwise, there is no problem. Now the extension that I have installed from recommended is this Python one. You can also see here this extension is recommended based on the files you have recently opened, and you can see it is opened here also. So this was also installed by automatically by recommended, and I also personally installed it manually. So these are extensions. Like if you don't know what all some of these are, there's no need to worry. I just told you these are what I use. Now we are going to talk about some other type of extensions. Like these are for productivity, like class names and this HTML boilerplate. There are also other types of extensions in VS Code. For example, themes. So what you can just do, you can type in here any, like just type theme, and it will show you a lot of themes. You can just, there are like, you can just scroll forever and they won't end. There are a lot of developers developing new themes for VS Code. Now you can see there are a lot of themes on the top, and material icon theme, atom 1 dark theme. Now if you work with atom ID, so you know this is really good theme, and it's really soothing to the eyes. I'm also going to make a video about customizing VS Code with themes and other things, so you can stay tuned for that. It will be coming in quite a few days. Then we have one Monokai theme. It is a mixture between Monokai and one dark theme. So Monokai is a theme for VS Code, and one dark is a theme for this atom one, like I just showed you before. There are a lot of themes, and you can try what suits you the best. You can also check their source code and their license from just clicking one of these buttons. And here you can also see how many have downloaded these themes. And there are like a lot of themes, and it will take a completely new video to explain all of these. So this was for the themes. Now there's one more extension that I would like to show you. I don't have it installed here, but it's a really useful extension. It is called Gitlens. So Gitlens is the extension for integrating your Git capabilities into VS Code. Now you can integrate your GitHub repositories or libraries into VS Code, and it makes it really easy to change them or to integrate your VS codes, like live integration with them. It's really easy. You also have insiders version, which will give you some previews of the newly upcoming features which are not in this the normal version. So you can also download that if you want. So these were some of the basic extensions. Now let's also see some other autocomplete features that VS Code provides on itself only, like default. So for example, for if I'm doing Python, so if I just type here print PRI, PR or PRI, it will really show me print. So I can just tab it and it will automatically show me. And one more feature, like if you're importing libraries into Python, we're going to talk about libraries in the future videos also. So like if I just type in here, I'm going to import. Now, like if you are importing any modules or libraries into Python and it is not using it at that time, so it will also show you that this is not being used. So for example, from typing import list. So as you can easily see, like if I have typed it, but if I just type from, it will show fr. From fr it will show from. I can just tab it, and then it will, I just type typing, it will show me typing import list. Now it also has a feature that can take different modules from a single library. So for example, it is showing me list, like it knows that in the typing module there is a function known as list, so it will just import list only. Now if I just enter, you can see that it is showing this gray icon and this. So what is this? This is like, if you can just click it, you can see remove unused import. So this means that this is a library I have imported, but it is not being used in any of my codes. Like not in this one, it is checking all the codes. Is it being used somewhere or not? So it is not being used, so it is showing. And this was just for demonstration purpose, so I can also remove it. So I have told you about extensions and how good they are and how they really boost your productivity in VS Code. And these can be really useful if you work with a lot of projects and a lot of files at once. and I also showed you about boilerplate and some other extensions that remove to path file. You can also see them here if you want. I can just scroll out of them once. You can see all of them here that I am currently using, and I'll also showed you some themes and other extensions that are really useful if you're working with different type of files and file types. Now it is not necessary that you would need to use all of them. Just install the ones that you need, and also just read the examples and the description so that you get a better idea of how they work. So that was all for this video. If this video helped you out, like this video and share this video. If you have any doubts or queries, just write them in the comment section and I will try my best to reply to them. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing to my channel and also press the notification icon for the recent updates that I post on my channel and the different videos. And I'll see you in the next one.